My experience with full self-driving beta has been nothing short of a disaster. And my theory was that it has to do with where I live, and that may be confirmed. But I'm going to tell you all about it because tomorrow there's a different video coming. But let's get into how good it can be. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. So tomorrow I've got a video coming showing just how dangerous it can be, how bad it is, how rough around the edges it is. And I knew it wasn't a fair one. It's been out on Patreon for a while now, but I scheduled it to run while I'm in Texas because, I'm in Texas. So I figured I would go ahead and just share it with you. Show it to you anyhow. Show it to you, warts and all. That's something the nervous Nellies and naysayers will not do. But before I do that, I want to show you some successes. We took it for a nice 100 and some mile drive on Thanksgiving. I wanted to do as much A/B testing as I could. So I started by, for the drive up, we just did enhanced autopilot. Wanted to see if maybe that would give me better luck than full self-driving. And the stretch from my county up to basically Seattle, the suburbs of Seattle, on autopilot, enhanced autopilot, worked a treat. It was flawless. It worked perfectly. There was one time I disengaged because I didn't think it would slow down quickly enough, but that was my discomfort level, not the car. It then gave me, later I had an opportunity to test it in the exact same sort of situation where traffic slowed down, and it slowed down just fine. The whole drive there, no issues. When I got there, it made a bit of a scene because bringing a new Tesla to a family function, the first Tesla at the family function, you get questions. I had a chance to talk with a friend of mine who came. It was about 15 or 20 of us there, 18 I think, and everyone's family except for Mickey and Andres. And Andres is a programmer. He is a coder with a very big company you may have heard of, and he knows all about AI. So I asked him a bunch of AI questions, specifically about neural nets and code writing itself. And he gave me some very complicated answers that I didn't fully understand. So rather than try to get him to do an interview, which his company surely would not allow, I did my best to gather information. And he was very skeptical of self-driving. He was very skeptical, a bit skeptical of electric cars. He wants a Cybertruck. Who among us doesn't? So I asked him, have you ever experienced full self-driving in any vehicle? And he said, no. And I said, would you like to? And he said, yeah. And I said, how about now? Would you like to do it now? And he lit up because this is his dream. So we hop in the car. I give him the quick tour. And we start driving. And before we even get out of the driveway, he goes, turn it on. And I'm like, ooh, here we go. Now we're in the suburbs of Seattle. We're in the city of SeaTac, near the airport. If anywhere has a glut of training miles, it's here. But the roads are narrow and crowded and busy. So I turn it on, and we just picked a random spot on the map, dropped the pin, turned it on, and it drove us there with 0 interventions. I don't have footage of it because I didn't think to. It didn't occur to me. And also I think my battery was dead at that point because I left it on for the entire drive up. It drove through complicated little areas, through narrow sections with pedestrians and other cars, and drove us there just fine. He was very impressed. He was blown away. So we put the house address back in, and it drove us back there. No interventions. He told his wife about it. She couldn't believe it. We gathered a different crowd, and we did it again. We picked a different destination. It drove us there. No interventions. Drove around a little bit, put the return destination in. It took us back. No interventions. None. So my theory is that it sucks where I live, and I mean it is bad where I live, is because there's a lack of training data. It's not... There hasn't been enough testing for it to know what the heck is going on. Unfortunate. So it is better in places where it works. For the drive home, we went ahead and used real full self-driving, the full self-driving, and we started it on city streets. It only gave us one real problem, and that was on the on-ramp. It saw the stoplight and it was like, do I stop? I think I'm just going to stop. And I would have waited to see how long it sat there. Cars came up behind us. I tapped it. And then it drove us 2.5 hours with no interventions. It worked flawlessly all the way into town, to the gas station where we stopped to get drinks, not gas, obviously. And then we turned it on to take us home, and it failed miserably, because it always does. It, again, took us on a very strange path and was not acceptable. It was reckless. It was dangerous. It was very strange. And yeah, we disengaged it, and that was the end of that test. So I'm saying this because tomorrow's video is going to mention that it's kind of a scary prospect. In my town, it does not work. Every 5 miles, it will do something genuinely dangerous. And I know that's very different than the experience you've seen on some channels. Channels that I guess are using it in places where it's had more opportunity to train. I know some channels are in California. A lot of training data there. Chris from Dirty Tesla, he takes it on some very obscure roads, but he has been for years. He has trained the car on those roads, and it does do some interesting things in that regard. One of my biggest complaints is there's a hedge next to my driveway, and every time I pull in and every time I pull out, it loses its mind. You're going to crash into this hedge. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if it actually learns that this hedge is just part of my drive? This hedge is just here, man. And sure enough, it's beeping less. When I come home, it no longer thinks the driveway is an obstacle I'm about to hit. And it might beep at me once, but often 0 times pulling into my parking spot, which is a very good showing. If it's learning that it's doing its job. And I haven't had any updates. I'm on hardware 4, FSD 11.4.4. It is not great most of the time. I will add that I have had 0 instances of phantom braking. 0. Not for shadows, not for overpasses, not for signs. I have had some instances where it will slow down because of an obstacle that it perceives as being potentially dangerous. It once identified a parked car as something that, wait, is it in motion? Nope, never mind, it's fine. That doesn't bother me. A human can make that mistake too. I can see how that happens, and it did not affect my drive. It just made me look at the screen and go, wait, what's going on right here? No big deal. So there's a lot of good with the bad, but there's, in my neighborhood, plenty of bad. I would like to mention the range situation. We know that testing is done under optimal conditions. A lot of the benefit you get from an EV, specifically a Tesla, is that they're slippery, that they do very well with the aero drag. But wind resistance increases substantially with speed. These cars are not range tested at 70, 75, 78 miles an hour. A lot of that stretch is 70 miles an hour. If you go 70 on a clear sunny day when it's wide open, people will fly past you, of course. We are not going 70. We're going 75 at least. And at 75, your range is impacted. Boy, is it impacted. My stated range of 330 probably drops under 230, I would guess. 230 to 240. Because I did charge it all the way up to 100% to see. And we could have made our 100 and some mile round trip each way, 100 miles plus each way, on a single charge. But for comfort's sake, we did stop and add 10 minutes of juice, which bumped it up nicely, got home at, 30% or something, 20, 30%. So it was fine. It was fine. Little stressful at times. Yeah, we probably picked up 20% in those 10 minutes because it was in the sweet spot. So tomorrow's video is not going to be quite as optimistic as this one because it's testing in a city that it does not have, I'm guessing, enough training data. It is a disaster. So I'm giving you the good first, you'll get the bad second, and we'll see how it goes because we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So what do you think? How's it worked for you? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. All that good stuff. I'm still in Texas when this comes out. I recorded it before I went to Texas. So how was the Cybertruck event? Did it go good? Let me know. So what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Let me know. And stay tuned, stay juicy. Leave some comments, leave some likes or thumbs or whatever, or support me on one of the many platforms. But everybody else, stay tuned and yeah, can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.